All right, well, we're gonna get started. This is one of my probably my specialties. My biggest strong suits as a manager in my career was being able to help people. One, I learned it, and I learned this from, somebody who had won multiple scholarships and somebody who started teaching people how to do this and is now a inspirational speaker worldwide, Mr. Hal Elrod. And I remember when I started in the business back in 2002, hearing Hal talk about enrolling customers. And he was like, it's not about just sharing your goals, it's about enrolling them on your journey, right? Where they're just like so excited to be a part of what you're doing, like this basically gives you an opportunity for not just one-time customers, but long-term clients, right? Like it's building relationships where when people meet people like, oh, you gotta meet Hal, or you gotta meet Cece, or you got to meet Troy, or whoever it is, because they're just like so in awe of you, right? Like when I talk about this, I'm like, you want people to be impressed or be inspired by you. So how do you share your goals? So it's not just sharing facts, okay? Because sharing facts, that's great, but it doesn't connect people as deeply, okay? And so this is something that I was talking to, one of our, or some of our guys on Thursday night about, briefly, as I was giving them, the assignment to make sure to work on this and set themselves up for success. But there's there's a book that I remember here, and this was later. So this is in 2002. I didn't hear about this book until 2008. But it made sense, everything that like Hal talked about, and taught about. And I was, kind of blown away when I saw this, because I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense, now. And it talks about just like how human beings, like there's 7 different levels of intimacy, right? And just like how close you feel connected to somebody. And he talks about how there are each one is a little bit deeper, right? And so the first one is cliches. So you're like, oh, how's the weather? How are you? People always say that in passing, like, oh, how are you, Nicole? And you're like, oh, good. But then you're like, do you really want to know? Do you want to sit down? Do you want to have a conversation? But it's very natural for people to speak like in those, cliches. The next level down are facts, right? And so whether it's like, oh my gosh, did you see how the Astros did this? Or oh my gosh, the tornadoes up here? Or, you're just talking facts. The next layer deep is opinions. And so opinions now, some people don't like to talk in opinions because they're afraid, how about if somebody has different opinions and then there's conflict, right? So when you can share opinions, that's a deeper level of connection that you have with somebody. The next level is hopes and dreams, right? Which is number 4. Then number 5 is feelings, like how you're actually feeling, really. That's a deeper level. Number 6 is fears, faults, and failures. And then number 7, the deepest level, being legitimate needs. And so I remember when I read this book, I was like, oh my gosh, like this goes so aligned with, what I learned when I first started, and it all made sense psychologically and going through this. But it's like, Hal had this as he went through and shared, like, I'm super excited about this. Like, I'm a little bit nervous, like I'm scared I might not hit this, but I'm gonna do everything I can until the last minute, and he had this whole process. He's like, let customers know, like, I'm a little bit scared, or like I'm excited, I'm a little bit scared. Like this is like a really big thing I've never done before. And they would be like, you got this, don't worry, but like they just got to see a more authentic person versus like, I got this, and all, surfacey. And he would just like, share where he was at and on his journey and what he was working on and who he was and like what he was excited about. And so I learned, the power of being more authentic. And he's like, you can talk at them, you can share goals, you can bring up your PowerPoint, and just share pictures, or you can really think about like how this matters. And everything you talk about should tie back into like, why Cutco, or how is this going to help or benefit you? So it's either getting them to know a little bit about you. And through the goals process, it's like, here's who I am, where I've been and what's kind of gotten me here. Here's where I'm going. And then here's what Cutco has that could get me there faster, stronger, more equipped, whatever that might be. So I'm going to walk you guys through, on at the divisional team meeting, I popped up a slide and said, this is something I teach in SLDM. So I'll talk about this Tuesday. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper right now, actually, in terms of as you're going through these, these 7 steps. Mama needs some hot tea is what I need right now. But if I go outside, there will be children and life will be very crazy. So I'm going to stay right here. So the first thing is about you, right? And so just a little bit about you, background and current. So here's what I want you guys to write down and think about. This is what up levels, because you could just be like, this is my mom. This is, I went to school here. I love to play volleyball. That's great, but in my head, I'm always like, okay, so what? Like that was just something that I heard 20 years ago, and I'll be like, all right, so what? Like, what does that matter? Like, how did that play a role in your life? So I want you to take a pen and paper and think about this for a second. Like think about like family dynamics, right? And I'm just going to share from personal story, but hopefully this helps like trigger you guys as you're going through. And so family dynamic, what did that look like, right? So for one of my guys that I was just talking about, he's like, I grew up with a single mom, like she worked her butt off, but he didn't used to say this. He would just be like, this is my mom. I really love her. She's so great. And like, I play baseball and I really love baseball. And it was just very surfacey. Like it was facts, right? It was facts. And then would you be willing if I showed you how to take that a little bit deeper? And I'm like, well, first of all, tell me like, what's the dynamic with mom? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, just growing up, like, you guys are close. He's like, oh, super close. Like I'm, her only child. She was a single mom. Like she always worked her butt off to support us. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Right. Like now all of a sudden I was like pulled in more. I'm like, okay, well, this is more, I'm like, tell me more. And he's like, I said, why, what do she's like, yeah, she sacrificed so much so I could play baseball. I always loved it. And so that I could be able to get a great education and go to college and have a full ride and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. And are you grateful to mom? Are you resentful to mom? And he's like, oh my gosh, no, I'm so grateful. And I go, okay. And how does that, I was like, what did you love about, growing up or being with her, whatever? I'm like, what did you not like? Or what did you want to change? Right. And he was like, huh. I was like, and so to answer that for yourselves, like, what did you not like growing up or what did you want to change? And for him, he's like, I didn't like how much she had to work. He's like, if I could change something, it would be like helping her relax more. Like I'm appreciative. She worked all the time, to like give us give me whatever I needed. And I said, so, is working hard, going to college, getting a great job. I'm like, is that something that excites you to be able to like make her proud? And he's like, oh, for sure. I was like, okay. And he showed me some of his like future goals and things that he had there. And as he shared his future goals, he said, he's like, there was a picture of a beach on his goals. He's like, oh, this is a beach. I want to take my mom to a really cool, like my mom loves beaches. And so I want to take her to like a really cool beach. And I was like, that's awesome. I said, here's a different way you can package versus this is my mom and, I love her so much and baseball and I always play baseball. And like, this is like one of my mom's dream trips I want to take her on one day, which was cool to hear. I said, let me repackage that, I guess. So you can just say, so I grew up, as an only child with a single mom. Like my mom is the best. Like she worked her tail off, like always sacrificed whatever, to like help me play baseball, to hopefully put me in a position to be able to get a scholarship, to go to college, to get a great job. And she's just always worked so hard to like, so that I could have, he's like, I've never felt like I needed anything. And, I'm in awe of my mom, and one of the things that I can see now and that I want to do is like, I want to make life a little bit easier for her. He's like, I want to work hard. I want to make a lot of money so I could take my mom around the world. I want to take her to like every cool beach and like top beaches in the world, and be able to travel with her and just and be able to give back, to just say thank you, for everything that she did for me. And so I'm super grateful. And so my goal is to study and be able to do this and be able to have a career that can provide financially, but also gives me a little bit of time freedom. And that's something that would just be really exciting to be able to have that and not have time or money be something that stops us from doing, like doing things that we want to do, right? And I was like, yes, all right, now we're talking. So this is as you're going through here. So number one is, where you're at, like who you are, and what's made you for right now. And so here are the main questions I kind of dig into is like, what was family dynamic growing up, right? So for me, it was like I grew up in a two-bedroom apartment, and I shared this with customers. I'm like, Ms. Jones, thank you so much for seeing me. I'm like, just a little bit about me. I'm like, I'm the oldest of four. I grew up in a two-bedroom apartment with six people. I was like, money was always tight. Time was always, parents couldn't do stuff because they had to work to make money. And I remember growing up hearing that. And I at one point I was like, man, like one of my friends' parents was actually an entrepreneur, and they would be at all of our games and they would be home. And I just remember at 14 going, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, like that's what I want to do. And so I'm super grateful for all the sacrifices my family's made. But I know that in the future, one of the things that I really want for myself is to be able to be present, like when I have kids, when I have a family, to be able to travel, to be able to contribute, to be able to um, do things that we want to do and not be constrained by, time or money. And so that's something that's really motivated me through school, was able to graduate valedictorian in my senior class, played sports really hard to be able to also get scholarships, and was able to get, almost a full ride to Palm Beach Atlantic. And they're like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I just, I know I really want to work in a different direction, and really move away from poverty and help my family do that. But I definitely want to get to a place where I can take care, I can give back to my parents, like growing up, I didn't understand how hard they worked to give us everything. So I'm super grateful, and so in the future, one of my biggest goals is to be in a position where I can like have that time and money freedom, right? And so this goes to the shared presentation. It's like a little bit about you. And so I had like my family pictures, things, me playing volleyball, like my high school, my college, right, on the about me and sharing that. And then when I went to personal goals, some of these I have on mine, and then there's other ones that I had as well. This was Johnny's when he changed the pictures. But anyway, but just sharing, I'm like, yeah, I want to have, it was time and money freedom. Like that's what I am like working my butt off. And so I'm super excited about, and now we go into the third. So again, so the first, family dynamic, what did you love about it? What did you not like or want to change, or how would you want to go back and change it, right? Whether it's like making, a single mom's life a little bit easier, who did so much for you, whether it's being a great example for your siblings, right? Because maybe you didn't have great parents and they didn't set a great example. And so it's like, we grew up with, just some fractures in the home, and it just a lot of conflict. And I'm the oldest of three kids. Like I'm the oldest of four, but I'm just pretending to be somebody else. I'm like, I'm the oldest of three kids. And one of the things that really motivates me and to work hard and achieve is to show my siblings that like anything's possible, regardless of where we came from, regardless of what we were told, like that we can do anything that we want to do. And so that's something that really motivates me to work hard. And so I was, able to graduate valedictorian. And so, but do you guys see how I'm tying it in versus like, oh, I was valedictorian in my senior class, or I did this, or I was in National Honor Society. Like that's great, but it's like, okay, what drove you to succeed at a high level? Was it impressing your parents, making them proud? Was it wanting to be at your best? Was it being a good example? Like there's always deeper things. And so think about what drove you, because for me, like I wasn't the best example when I was younger. I was really mean to my siblings. And I remember my dad, one day I got in trouble and I got a bad spanking. And he said, like, you're the oldest of four. Like, you need to be a better example. And like, that always drove me growing up. Like, okay, I want to be a great example for them, but just thinking about family dynamics, what did you love? What did you not like, or what did you want to change? Is kind of like what I talk about, what I tie in when I talk about me. Cool. The second is where you're going, right? Future goals and dreams is the second step to like sharing super powerful goals. And so what's your dream job? And I want you guys to think about, why did you choose that, right? So one of the girls in our office, she was, she's a business attorney or whatever is her dream job. And I said, why? Like, why did you choose that? Why is that something that you're excited about? Or I said, I said, where did it come from at first, right? And she's like, well, in freshman year high school, I saw this, da, da, da. And I said, okay. And she's like, I said, what do you love about it? And she's like, I love being able to bring justice. And I said, where did you see injustice growing up, right? And she's like, oh, everywhere. And she started sharing all this stuff. And I said, okay, cool. So that lets people know a little bit more about you. So when you say like, I want to be a business attorney, I want to do this, like I love the idea of being able to bring justice where it's needed, right? Like, unfortunately, growing up, I saw a lot of injustices around me and with my family and friends. And I love that I can be in a position to help people and be able to bring that about, right? And so that's a whole different level versus I'm studying this, I'm going to be a business attorney, right? So again, what's your dream job? Why did you choose that? And how does having that job, think about how does having that job help you or your family or your community or the world, right? And so for my rep, it's about bringing justice. For me, it was about me having my dream job of being an entrepreneur. It was about creating time and money freedom to be present with my family, to contribute, to travel the world, right? So there's no right or wrong. It's just let's think about that, right? Like, why did you choose your major? And having that job, is it providing financial stability that's going to allow your family to have X, Y, and Z? Is it helping your family or your community or your world in a certain way? Are you solving a problem that you saw when you were younger and you're like really excited to solve? Some people have some brilliant ideas and are super creative. So just, thinking about, but like it's cool to share those things because your customers go, wow, that's amazing. Like that you're thinking about that, right? Like the depth into your goals and why you're working is something that's really inspiring, and so that's huge. Then the third step to sharing goals, all right. So again, we went through, and this could be one slide, two slides, whatever, like, about me and like, what did I growing up and family dynamic or school, or whatever, what did I love growing up? What did I not? What did I want to change? Are things you can weave in, personal
Yeah.
goals, like my dream job or my future goal and why I want to do this. Why you chose that or like why that excites you and like, how is that going to impact your family or your community or the world? Whatever you want to talk about, right? And then the next step to sharing great goals is talking about, and for me, this is, and this could be a couple slides, this could be one slide, but then the number 3 is what are the skills that Cutco offers that can help you for your future? So write that down. What are the skills that Cutco offers that can help you for your future? So you want to think about, and I want to hear from a couple of you guys real quick here, but I want you guys to think about what are, when you're if you're going to be at your best, right? Like, and you want to get to the future, like you want to get there faster, stronger, more equipped, more confident, whatever it is. What are some of the things? And maybe it's skills, maybe it's money too. So sorry, I should have just said what are things Cutco offers, right? That could help you for the future. Because when I got to this, I talked about scholarships and helping for school, right? And being able to graduate debt free. That was something Cutco offered, an opportunity for me as a young person to make great income with a flexible schedule around my school schedule, right? I also love that Cutco has all these amazing resume boosters that can really help me stand out when I graduate. There's a President's Club letter. This is a hand-signed letter from the president of our company saying how awesome I am and how people should, accept me for whatever program or a grad school or internship or job or whatever it might be, right? And so, that's something that would help me there. They have a leadership academy. The leadership academy teaches us life skills, like soft skills that we don't necessarily learn in school, like time management, organization, self-confidence, public speaking, conflict resolution, managing the foundations in budgeting and finances, emotional intelligence for agreements, levels of leadership, and so much more, right? Like there are so many things. And so this is like a high level leadership, business, and communications class put into one. And that's something that if I work really hard this summer, I could get accepted into the Leadership Academy. And it's something that can propel me forward in so many ways and help me get more comfortable with this or that and sharing that, right? So for Ale Tomasino, when she would talk about what Cutco offers, and she talked about, they have a program where they actually can teach us how to start a business or how to run our own business. And, it helps me get more comfortable and confident with my communication skills, which is going to be really important. And she would share, she's like, I'm really introverted, like I'm definitely more quiet, more nervous meeting people. And like, my goal is to be like the best dentist in town, right? Like, I want to have my own dental practice. And at school, they teach me everything about dentistry, but I'm not like learning how to run a business or bedside manners, rapport building, networking, things like that. And so I want all my patients to be like, I have the best dentist in the world. And like, you need to go see her. And I want them to refer me to everybody. And so I'm excited because this job is going to get me out of my comfort zone. It's going to break me out of my shell and help me gain more confidence, communicating with all different types of people. And this job is helping me learn the foundations of how to run a business and back end. And I'm really excited this summer to work hard because there's the Leadership Academy. And that's something I really want to get into because I could take another major at school, a business major, or I can get into this academy and they actually teach us how to start a business. And the foundations of starting a business that can help me when I start my dental practice. What do you think her customers said? Oh my God, that's amazing. Right. Well, guys, she didn't say that when she first started. No one thinks about that when you're new. When she first started, she's like, I want to be a dentist. I want to have my own practice. And they were like, cool. And she's like, yeah. And she'd keep going. And she's like, actually, she would actually have people tell her, why are you doing that? Or like, why are you wasting, or I remember she told me, she goes, my family said, why are you wasting your time selling knives when you should be shadowing a dentist? And she's like, I don't know how to respond to them. And so when I worked on this with her, I go, well, you tell me, what are things Cutco offers that are going to help you be stronger? That are going to help you be more equipped, that are going to help you for your future? Tell me. All right. So let's hear it. Anybody can think off the top of their head as I just kind of brainstorm that. I could give you one or two other examples. I'd love anyone to raise their hand if you're like, if you know what you can share that Cutco will give you. So like Jay Vaughn, he was studying construction science, and his goal was to take over their family construction company, Vaughn Construction. And so he would share, he's like, I'm really excited about working with Cutco this summer because they work big time with students. Be like, I'm 17, graduating high school. And my dad even won't give me a lot of responsibility at the company until he sees I grow up. So I love that this company gives young people a chance to go into management at 17, 18, 19 years old, to work on leadership skills, to work on my communication skills. My mom said it's going to be really important one day, if and when I take over the company, that I can build great relationships with clients and retain the clients we already have, but also help gain new clients, right? And so I'm excited to work on my networking skills, work on my rapport building skills and relationship building skills so that I don't have just one-time customers that use our company, but we build long-term clients and partnerships. And so I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited about this company because they have this leadership academy where I can learn all these like business skills, leadership skills, communication skills that can help me be a lot more impactful in our business as I learn, from my dad. But eventually, when I take over, these are things that I'm going to need to know and learn. And so I'm really stoked to do that with this company and show my dad, like, look, at 18 or at 19, I ran my own business for $250 million company. Like, you can give me more responsibility now, right? And that was the same thing that happened with Carlos Luna. He would tell his customers, he's like, I want to take over my dad's tequila company. He's like, and so he, right now he thinks I'm a joke, like I just like party too much and like hang out with my friends. And I just really want to show him that like I can be responsible, I can be on top of stuff, and by the way, Carlos Luna was up with me at 8 a.m. every freaking day for 5 weeks straight. He had a 10K faster and he kept meeting with me. He sold $50,000 in a 5-week period in July. And he was number 10 All-American scholarship winner for that summer. He didn't even start until July, by the way. Like, he started the second, right after 4th of July is when he started the job. And he ended up number 10 All-American by the end of August. And his dad was like, what the heck? Like, my kid is up at 8 a.m. every day. Like, I remember his parents actually had me over for my birthday mid-August and made me this like amazing homemade Mexican meal. which being in Florida, you don't get as much Mexican food. And so I love Mexican food. And I was like so excited. Now here, I'm like, someone give me some Puerto Rican food or Cuban food. But anyway, I went over to their house and his dad was like, Kathy, I don't know what you've done with my son. Like, this kid is a kid who's like going out, partying at night, blacking out, not waking up till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and like watching him wake up and like leaving the house before me to be at work at 8 a.m. Or I'm like, who is this child? Like, what is going on? And he's like, I love it. Thank you. Keep doing it. And Luna, ended up, starting to work with his dad, and he's doing incredible things. He actually just got engaged last week, which was super cool to see. But anyway, it's just think about those things. So for Luna, it was like showing his dad that, he could be disciplined, that he could wake up, that he could be dependable. For Jay, it was learning the different skills to like keep their current clients with the company and really help with networking and building new clientele, and not having one-time customers, but having long-term clients. For Ale, it was getting comfortable interacting with different types of personalities, because she was really quiet and introvert, and getting more comfortable with her communication, but also learning how to run a business and how to manage others so that she could run her practice at a high level, and also build great relationships with her patients that would hopefully be raving fans and tell everyone about her. For me, I was like, I love Cutco because it's giving me an opportunity to gain foundations in entrepreneurship and personal selling. And those are foundations that can help me stand out in any industry, but also give me the know-how on how to build my own business, which is ultimately what I would love to do, right? Where there's other people who are like, it'll teach me the foundations of running a business, which will be really marketable because I want a C-suite position with blank company, my dream company. And so showing them that I can have more responsibility, that I can lead others, that I can do this is something that I know will help me for my future. All right. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause for a second and come up for air. But this is huge because you just tied it all together. You're like, here's who I am. Here's what's in me here. Here's like, what I'm going for in the future, and like how this is going to like help with X, Y, and Z. And so this summer, and we go to step 3, I'm working with Cutco, and now you're tying it together. And like, here's what Cutco offers that can help me get there quicker, stronger, more equipped, so that I can get this done, right? And then we'll go to the next step 4. So before we go to step 4, I want to hear from some of you, ladies or gentlemen, and on what are things that Cutco offers, right? It could be the money, anything that helps you financially, anything that helps you personally, anything that helps you professionally. So think about those 3 buckets, right? How is this going to help you financially? So for me, it was being able to, I paid my own school. So paying for school, getting scholarships, graduating debt-free. For Adriano, his school was prepaid. So financially, it was saving up money to buy his first house, to start investing young, and to be able to set his family up long term, right? For one of my friends, it was paying off a big chunk of debt for her mom that she really wanted to pay off, and being able to take care of her school stuff. And so just think about that financial bucket. How is this going to help you financially? Cool. And write a couple things down. Anybody have anything for financial? How's this going to help you financially? Nicole.
Okay, well, for me, I'm an international student. My parents are from Mexico, so we're 6 in total. I've been here since 2022. So working right now, it's like kind of like a limitation as an international student. Not only that, I'm a personal trainer and a babysitter. So I work with every type of people. So learning that, like skill communication, how to work with people, how to help them solve faster is something that can help me a lot. Plus the financial part.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. So yeah, what financially, is it helping pay for school? Is it helping family back home and helping be able to send money back? Like that was something that also I wanted to be able to do, which I helped my family in Puerto Rico and stuff. But thinking about how does this help you or your family financially, whether it's now or for the future, okay? So another financial thing was having the financial freedom to be able to travel, to be able to contribute, right? To be able to give back. Like that was a big goal of mine financially as well. So not just pay for school and stuff, but also like have financial freedom in the future. Second thing is personally, anybody personally, like Ale was like self-confidence, improving her communication skills. Anybody on personal ways that you feel Cutco can help you?
Learning to get out there. I'm also a very introverted person.
Mhm.
However, what I'm working towards is being a counselor for people with drugs and addictions because I want to be a missionary. So it
Nice.
helps me like get the confidence just to get out there and just present myself in a way that people would trust and respect and just hear me out without having to be all like jittery or
Mhm.
shy. I really like what it offers.
Awesome. Thanks, Riley. And by the way, Riley, also, and with missions and stuff, and I'll tell you this from personal experience, my best friend Lisa, when she started selling Cutco, this was something she shared with me like now, like years later, right? Like she just sold because she was saving up for a mission trip in Russia and then ended up working for a summer. But she was like, man, she's like, I can't believe how much I use all of this. Give me one sec. So with the she told me, she's like, one of the things I didn't even think about was like, she's like two aspects when we were doing missions, and actually she was taking people on missions as well. She's like, one is just being able to like know how to articulate a vision of what our plan is, what we want to do, how we want to help impact, especially when we need to fundraise. There's a lot of fundraising in missions. And so she's like, being able to share a story, confidently in front of people and like, here's what we're doing and here's what we want to do for this, village and da da da. And here's how you can help. And she's like, I didn't even realize how much it would help with that, right? And being able to like connect with people and build rapport right away and then trust me with their money. Like, guys, I don't know if you know this, and Riley, I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of nonprofits that take a
Yeah.
lot of money for a bunch of other crap? And so do they trust that, like, if they're going to donate to you guys, that it's going to good use, and that it's actually going to impact people? And she was like, and the other thing was, being able to speak to, like, she did a lot of mission trips where she would take kids, like youth groups and stuff. And she's like, and being able to have the parents like trust me again with their kids to take care of them, knowing that I had their best interests. And she's like, I just never thought how much it would. I use these skills every day that I really developed when I was with Cutco, and I was like, oh, and so there's just things you might not think about. I remember Maddie, who runs our Friendswood branch, when she was in training last year, I said to her, like, oh, what are you studying? What's your dream? Just like, I'm an actress, like, and I said, oh, that's awesome. I said, how do you feel Cutco could help you? Right. And she said, she's like, well, I don't really know. Cause like, I I don't really know. Like she didn't connect the dots and she was like, I don't really know. I'm an actress. I don't know if this is like really for me. And I looked at her and I was like, what? I go, I go, did you just hear what you said? I said, you're an actress. I said, that means you're going to be selling yourself all the time. I was like, that's literally what you're doing is selling yourself and why they should select you for this role or whatever. I said, and also, unfortunately, in the world we live in, and definitely in the entertainment space, a lot about getting ahead is about who you know and having connections. There are so many talented people everywhere. And so how come this person got this and this person didn't? And it's like, oh, their brother works in the production and they were able to give this tape to somebody or this happened or whatever. And I said, so the more you can be good at building rapport, building relationships, connecting, likability factor, people meet you and they're like, oh my gosh, and not just you on stage, but just you at a bar or like working at whatever place and they meet you and they're just like, oh my gosh, I love this person. And they're like, what do you do? Tell me about you, whatever. And they're like, you know what? I need to introduce you to so and so, right? I said, so you want that happening? And she's like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. I was like, and I said, I don't know if this interests you ever in the future, but I know that this is something that my friend does in California and she has an acting school, right? And she loves teaching acting. And that's another business. So she's an actress, but she also has an acting school, which gives that stable income, right? Because with acting, you never know when you have a gig and when you don't.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. I was like, so I said, this job is, I said, I would share with your customers, it's giving you a chance to learn foundations of business, learn this, work on your communication, being able to meet different personalities, networking. I said, but it's giving you a chance to have more options, like have more doors available so that if you do decide later, like, I do want to have my own business, I want to have an acting school, or I want to have this, like, I have the know-how on how to do that. And so I was like, oh, you know, she's like actually she's doing our entrepreneurship internship this summer, running her own office and starting to learn these foundational skills, right? So we'll and then the other thing is the professional aspect, right? And so how do you guys feel? So Brendy or Troy, anybody else want to share? What are skills Cutco offers, or what are things Cutco offers that you feel are going to help you professionally?
I was gonna say relationships with the people that you work with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. And think about these things, cool? Because like again, the deeper and the more you can connect of like, oh, it can help me, and they're like, oh wow, right? Like versus just the surfacey and really knowing like, hey, this can help me with this, my confidence will impact this. So thinking about those things. So again, number one, the first step in sharing goals is who are you, right? But think about what's gotten you to where you are, family dynamics, what did you love? You know, if you played sports, like, oh, I love the team dynamic, and you're going to talk about how I love that about Cutco because we get to work in a team. You know, we have our own personal goals, but we also work together towards big goals. And I love the camaraderie, you know, of the company, or, you know, whatever it is, if that's something that you like. But thinking about growing up, what did you like? You know, what did you not like? What did you want to change? And then how did that impact your dream job, right? Why did you choose that? And that's the second set of goals, is future, right? Where are you going? So where have you been? Where are you going? And so where are you going? Why did you choose that? How does this industry, job, whatever mission, how does it help you or your family or community or the world? Like what sparked that, and how is it going to help you guys? And when you think about that, how is it going to help? How are that transitions into why Cutco? But it's like, what are skills that Cutco offers that are going to help you for your future, right? What are things it offers professionally? What are things it offers personally? What are things it offers financially, that are going to help you for your future? And so thinking about that, right? And so these are some things, like I always talked about, like the resume booster. So just to show you guys, like these next 3 slides are kind of talking about what are things Cutco offers that can help me, right? So when I would talk about this, I would talk about like President's Club and hand sign letter, scholarships, you know, consistency, being able to show companies that I'm not just a one-hit wonder, but I'm someone that's dependable. And I said, and then the biggest thing is the top right, the Leadership Academy. And so this is something that the company has, that allows me to learn skills that they're not necessarily teaching me, you know, with, let's say, for instance, dental school or with whatever, you know. And even for me, I was an accounting major. I was just like, you know, learning communication, leadership, how to run a business, how to manage myself, how to manage others. You know, this is actually last year's curriculum, which a lot of our guys shared on their slideshows. And so it's like, this is what the curriculum was last year. It's similar each year, what they go through in the fall, but, you know, talking about abundance mindset, psychology of sales, goal setting, achieving goals, high performance habits, you know, 5 levels of leadership, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and more, right? But these are life skills that make you so much stronger. And so I'm really excited about standing out as a top person this summer to be able to be accepted into this leadership academy. And so far, you know, I've been able to get promoted to assistant manager, and I'm just talking about kind of like where I am so far towards that, right? Whether it's like, oh, I'm 3 weeks on consistency so far, or like, oh, I'm only blank away from my President's Club letter, or I'm ranked top in the office, right? Like just things that are already starting to come, that you are able to add on your resume. Everybody good? All right. And so you guys can add stuff in there. Step 4 to sharing goals. Step 4 is talking about summer or year goals. Cool. So some people have like, they're trying to win a silver cup for the year. You know, for me, it was a scholarship for the summer. And so what is your summer or annual goal, that you're excited about? And then the next level, and by the way, when you do that, this is a good place to price drop, to start talking about money. And so if I say like, oh, my goal this summer is to sell, you know, $50,000, and win a scholarship, I'm like, oh, Miss Susie, if you want to just write a check for 47,000, then I'll definitely hit it. I'm like, I'm already here. They're like, oh, like, I'm just kidding. I'm like, but keep a lookout, because if you guys do see stuff you like, and whether it's there or when you talk about your current contest, I always like to kind of joke around. But I'm like, no, this stuff's way too expensive for you to buy just to be nice. You know, I'm assuming you didn't put away a couple grand waiting for the knife girl to come by. But I do want to show you why so many people invest in Cutco. All right. But anyway, so step 4, is summer or annual goals. Step 5 is current contest. So this is actually skipped here. So this would either be like the push, all right, or in this case, it's a fast start. Excuse me. So here it's fast start. Oh, I can't do anything because it's a view only. So again, summer goal or annual goal, and then current contest. So whether it's fast start, next week we have the division meeting challenge for the week. You know, the following week we have the playoffs happening, you know, nationwide. And then 3 weeks later, we're going to have the Super Bowl, right? And so talking about whatever current contest, you know, things you can win. If you have a dirty girl, you know, dirty 30 goal, a lot of people have that by June 25th. When we are at the actual ceremony closing the playoffs, that they're getting promoted, they're getting their dirty 30 promotion. That's a great goal to have, by the way. Great goal. Some of you might have hit it already. Great. Can you double or triple that by the time you get to June 25th and go into the second half of the summer, you know, at your highest commission levels and see how big you can take it, right? So yeah, so step 4 is annual or summer. Step 5 is current contests that you have or current goals that you're working on. Step 6 and 7, you might hear them interchanged. It's really whatever flow you have. But typically I talk about my sales goals and I say, hey, by the way, you know, if you want to just write me a check for 20 grand, then I'll definitely hit my goal this week. I'm like, I'm just kidding. I'm assuming you didn't put away 7 to 10 grand to redo your kitchen today, but keep a lookout. I'm like, this stuff's amazing. If you guys have any birthdays, weddings, things coming up, you're going to buy gifts for. I'm like, you might see something you like of Cutco. Maybe you say something for yourself. Not only are you getting a phenomenal product, but it helps me out big time for my goals. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys. And so this right here, Miss Susie, is my my sponsorship. And this actually has nothing to do with sales. Cool. So this is just, there's a free way to help. I'll tell you about it at the end. This is just for introducing me to nice people like Miss Sandra introduced me to you. All right. And so, oh, look, there's your friend Christina. She was a triple sponsor. And Benji was a sponsor as well. And so I'll show you that later, but my goal is to sell in every state in the US. So we'll talk. And lastly, it's my give back goal. Know that if you do end up purchasing anything today, our division, or here in Houston, the Gulf Coast division, our goal is to raise this summer $20,000 to be able to pay for the solar panels at the medical clinic down in Haiti. So this was actually built by Cutco friends. So my boss, my division manager, Kathy, her best friend, Andy, is from Haiti. And there was a really bad earthquake over a decade ago that crushed the island. And all the medical, like the hospital in the south part, basically crumbled with the earthquake. And so they came together as friends and said, you know what, let's do something to help the community. And Andy had lost a couple family members during that earthquake, passed away. And so we got together and started raising funds. We bought ground, we broke ground, we took mission trips every year, and just super cool to have built this. And it's one of the best medical clinics in the Caribbean, by the way, and best medical on the island. And we provide services. There's an eye doctor there, there's a dentist there, there's an OBGYN there, they deliver babies here, there's a pediatrician, like all in the clinic. There's different rooms. It's super cool. So customers can, if you wanted to, Brendy, if this is something that pulls at you, I'm like, it's a tax write-off, and you would just go right on to, it's a nonprofit, to Angel Wings International that you see here on the bottom. You can just go to angelwingsinternational.org and you can, whether it's a monthly amount or a one-time, my goal is to help raise $1,000 this summer. So if you do end up donating something, or if you want to at the end, let me know so I can kind of tally that into my fundraising total. But really excited to let people know about what we're doing. Cool. And so my office gives 10% of everything that comes in, that revenue, back to missions and ministry. And right now that's a big focus. So anyway, thank you so much for helping me towards my goals. I'm like, this helps me out so much, right? And then we go into the presentation. So that's the process there that I wanted to share with you guys. Record this. So to kind of wrap up. So you'll hear a picture's worth 1,000 words. And this was something very real. You can talk about stuff, but like when they see it, it connects them deeper. So yes, you can just share your goals over the phone. That's good. That's better than not sharing goals. That's for dang sure. All right. But when you get to a place where now visually they see it, like Andy, he has he's like, he has pictures of his family, of his dog, his mom traveling, like, and he's like, this is my inspiration. He's like, this is what drives me to work hard. You know, my mom, da da da. And he talks about stuff and people are like, wow. And like, they're just so impressed with who he is. And they're so excited to be a part of that journey. And that's my goal for each and every one of you, that you not just share goals with customers and being brand new, you guys are like, company has scholarships and they have this and it's really cool. Like that's not inspiring or moving. I mean, that's great. But if you want to build long-term clients and you want to build a long-term business and be here and have a chance, if you wanted to have Cutco through college available for you, it is really important to enroll customers into your journey, because now you have long-term clients who are always wanting to send referrals, and if they meet people like, oh, you got to meet, you know, Kathy, or, you know, they hear certain things that sparked, and like, they're kind of a part of they become part of your family. They're your Cutco family. And it's a very big difference when you do this the right way, like just the closeness that you feel with people as you guys are going through.